I've had many different types of bosuns as my years as a merchant mariner. Bosuns ranging from sleeping during the job, drinking mouthwash to catch a buzz. Bosuns range from all different types of people. Now, don't get me wrong, the bosuns on the ships are always my favorite people on the ship. Usually the hardest workers, they're usually the funniest people on the ship. You spend the most time around them as an AB or an OS. On deck, you are constantly with the bosun, so you better have a good relationship with them. I have nothing but respect for my bosuns. But there have been some interesting guys that have called themselves the bosun. So today we're going to go over a couple of the bosuns I've had experiences with. I can't tell you about my personal bosuns without telling you what a bosun is. So a bosun or a boatswain in the Merchant Marine is a senior crew member responsible for overseeing the deck department and ensuring the maintenance and operation of the ship's deck equipment. So my first bosun for today, I'm going to call him the mouthwash bosun. This bosun was hilarious. I had such a good time with him. Anytime I was going out, he would be the first in line. But the problem with him is the good time never ended. He wanted to continue even when we were working. That's when the mouthwash came in. When he would run out of the booze after bringing it ashore, he would drink it all. Probably in the first week, he would empty out his cabinet of booze, finish it off, clean it out, clean house, and then he would resort to the mouthwash. It honestly seemed like he had more mouthwash in stock in his room than the actual booze. He would clean house of his booze and he would go right to the mouthwash. And the mouthwash, and you always knew when it was time for the mouthwash or when the mouthwash was flowing. It's when his lips would, after break time, his lips would be dark blue. Dark blue, and it's like, oh, you clean your mouth again? It's like the 4th time today you had to switch the mouthwash around. He's like, yeah. Gotta keep my teeth pretty and healthy. Okay, brother. Okay. Copy that. This next bosun I call the ass kisser. This bosun will go out of his way to do anything to impress the mates or the captain. Now, of course that's great, but there are things you can do to get it done, and then there are things you can do. You're doing it to the extreme. It's like, alright, it's a little unnecessary to what you're doing. Even the mates and the captain are like, step back a little bit. You don't need to be doing this. You don't need to be pulling us off the bridge, saying, look at this, look at this, look at this, look how good it is. They just want you to do it. And do it right, of course. But they don't need to get pulled around and shown all your work that you did for the day. If you are an AB or an OS, this guy starts getting on your nerves. Because he's always watching over you. He's always saying, oh, do this, do that, do this, do that. Following you around, making sure everything is in tip-top shape. If it ain't right, if it ain't the way he likes it, he'll go and he'll redo it himself, or make you do it about 10 times. But lots of bosuns do that, and that's okay. You should thrive for your best work. But when he starts pulling them down and showing off and trying to get, trying to look like a big shot, I don't know. It doesn't always sit well with me if he's trying to take all the credit where sometimes credit is due to someone else. Sometimes an OS will do this amazing job on something. The bosun will pull the mate aside and say, look what we did. But he won't say who specifically did it. He'll take the credit because he is technically our boss in the deck department. This next bosun I call Sleepy Bosun. This is the bosun. I usually get along with these bosuns. But this is the bosun that will give you your work assignment, show you exactly what needs to get done, exactly how it needs to get done, then he'll disappear. He will be gone until lunchtime. You won't see him again till lunch. He'll either be asleep in the break room or he'll be asleep in his room. There will be times when we'll get off for coffee and I'll go out of my way to try to find him, because he clearly didn't show up to coffee. So if a bosun doesn't show up for coffee, coffee's bosun's favorite time of the day. Coffee, lunch, and the end of it. So when it's coffee time and you don't see the bosun, it usually means he slept through it. So I'll find him in a separate dark room, and I'll walk in and I'll see him snoring away on the couch. I don't care. I find it hilarious, but I try to give him the heads up when the mates are on alert and they're walking around, or the captain's walking around. So, as I don't want him to get in trouble. I don't want him to get caught. I have a respect for these guys, and I'm usually pretty close to them. So I don't want them to get in trouble. So I'll make sure he's alert of it, and if he decides to just lay there and sleep, that's on him. And then there's Angry Bosun. Angry Bosun is the bosun who, back in the day, he would have a whip. He would be the guy whipping you, trying to get you to move. Yeah, let's go, let's go, let's go. In a mooring operation, he's the guy screaming, throw that heaving line, pull up this line, do this, do that. He's just screaming constantly. He's always butting heads with the mates and the captain. He's trying to act like he runs the ship. He does run the deck department. At the end of the day, he's allowed to yell at us. That's fine, no one really cares if he yells at us. But they tend to butt heads with the mates a lot. Specifically the third mate. They'll go at it with them. These bosuns, they treat you like a little bit like dog shit. Now, the thing with them is they're usually so good at their job that no one questions them. They're so proficient that everyone lets it slide. You're like, alright, you can treat me like shit, because I know what you're teaching me, it's gonna help me so much in my career, and I respect it. But you do like, can you simmer it down a little bit? It's like, come on, let's bring it down. Your temple's pulsing out of your fucking head. Your head looks like it's gonna burst. You're beet red. You've been screaming at me for an hour straight now because I didn't mix the paint right. Didn't mix the paint right, you're fucked. If you don't mix the paint right, you're fucked, buddy. I'm sorry, you better learn how to mix paint. Next, there's the paint locker bosun. This is a bosun who holds the paint locker so tightly to his chest. It is his home away from home. He is in there all day, stirring that paint up. He doesn't let anyone else in there. He doesn't want anyone else mixing paint. He mixes paint for everybody on the ship. He'll just sit in there and mix paint all day. It is pride and joy, that paint locker. They're usually, when it comes to those bosuns, they usually keep the paint locker pretty good. And they usually keep the trash room pretty good. The thing with them though is, if you're on break, or you're in the bathroom, and I need to get some paint, I gotta wait on you, or you're gonna ride my ass about it. I like being on the ships where the bosun lets you he teaches you how he wants the paint to be mixed, and then you can just go do it whenever you need paint. You go in there, you mix your paint, you're ready, get it done. That's how I like it. The bosuns who don't move, don't go in there unless I'm there. I'm in the bathroom. Wait till I get back. Dude, you just took a half an hour shit. Like, running up the clock. I only have so much time to get the job done. You just dropped a dookie, and it took you about 45 minutes. I could have got a whole can of paint mixed up at this point. Next bosun is the all-nighter. This is the guy who is the party animal. He's very similar to Mouthwash Bosun. They usually, if they were on the same ship together, they would be out and they would never come back to the ship. But the all-night bosun, he is known to just be the party animal on the ship. Every time he goes out, no, he doesn't always go out actually. When he does though, everybody knows it. Everyone's like, where's the bosun? Where's the bosun? I've seen bosuns not return back to the ship. We left port, and he would catch us in the next port. He would either fly to the next country, or he would get a cab to meet us at the next port. It's just wild. It's wild. He would be up all night, show up to work, and then finally go to bed that night. It'd be like 24 hours straight of partying and working. and he is okay with that. He would do it any chance he could, but he doesn't. That's one thing he respects the crew and his job enough to know he can't do it every time they're in port. He knows he can be a nuisance, so he'll go out every once in a while, and because he's usually so good at his job, the captain will let it go. They'll be, okay, I understand. You had a good night out. Let's get back to work, though. Let's get back to it. You enjoyed your night out with your however so many hookers and lines and drinks and whatever. Whatever you're doing. You might be going to Dick's Sporting Goods, who knows. But whatever he's doing, now you're done here. Let's get back to work. The last bosun on this list is what I call the true bosun. True bosun. He is what you expect and what you want out of a bosun, a leader in the deck department. He is efficient in every single way a sailor should be efficient. He's tying knots you've never seen before. He's running the crane, the forklift, mooring, throwing the heaving lines over the side like an expert. If you need him on the bridge to steer, he'll do it on watch. It don't matter. And he was always willing to work. He wants as many hours as he can. The trash room looks amazing. Paint locker looks amazing. He's just a perfect merchant mariner. I love when I have a bosun like that. He's just such a good person to be around. He teaches you. He respects you. It's a different type of ship when you have someone who is a good leader. Bosuns have the opportunity to prove themselves as a good leader and to show in a good example to all the younger guys, the ABs, and the younger, newer OSs, and even apprentices and cadets coming on board who work with him on deck. He has the opportunity to show them what it means to be a good sailor, and a good bosun will do that. Hardest worker on the ship, I honestly believe it. A good bosun is the hardest worker on the ship. Sometimes. Or sometimes you can get sleepy bosun or mouthwash bosun or angry bosun. Yeah. Bosuns. They are interesting people.